Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. We're always curious, what time are you watching this and where in the world are you tuning in from? Let us know.
Yes, hello everyone. It's always wonderful to connect.
We're looking at something really important today, something many of us think about as we get, well, a bit more seasoned, how to keep our muscle strength up as we age. And specifically, we're going to focus on a time you might not expect while you're asleep.
That's right. It's a pretty common experience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For folks over 60 to notice maybe a bit less spring in their step. Getting up from a chair takes a little more effort, maybe. Or those morning stretches just don't feel quite as easy. We hear that often.
We really do. And there's a medical term for this gradual loss of muscle strength with age. It's called sarcopenia. Now, the important thing here is, while it is a natural part of aging, the rate it happens isn't fixed. We actually have more control than we might realize.
Absolutely. It's not just about the calendar pages turning. Often, this muscle loss happens because our bodies aren't getting the right kind of support to stay strong. Think of it like a car. You wouldn't expect it to run well without the right fuel, would you?
No, of course not.
Our muscles are similar. They need the right building blocks.
And that brings us to something really interesting. Sleep. We often focus on exercise, getting enough protein during the day, but it turns out those quiet hours when we're sleeping are actually a really critical time for our bodies to repair and renew. And that includes our muscles.
Exactly. What's really fascinating is that while you're resting, your body's actually quite busy. It's repairing the little bits of wear and tear from the day, balancing hormones, working on those muscle fibers. But like any good construction crew, it needs the right materials delivered right to the site.
And those materials, those building blocks, they come from our diet, right? What we eat, especially maybe as we're winding down for the night, can really influence how well our bodies do this overnight repair job.
hmm So a good question to ask is, what are some smart bedtime choices? Things that can help support this whole process. We're not talking about, big, heavy meals that'll just keep you awake, but rather small, nutrient-packed foods that can gently help your body maintain its strength while you get some sound sleep.
Exactly. And we've been looking into some really solid research on this. Today we're going to talk about 4 specific bedtime foods. They're natural, easy to find, simple to prepare, and they can genuinely help prevent muscle loss, maybe even improve sleep, and just give your overall strength a nice little boost.
Okay, so let's start with one that might be a bit of a surprise. Kiwi fruit.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
Little fuzzy guy. Most folks just think of it as a tasty, tropical treat. Sounds like it's got some hidden talents, especially for us as we get a little wiser.
It really does. What's quite intriguing is that kiwi naturally contains melatonin.
Yeah.
Now, some of you might know melatonin is a supplement people take for sleep, right?
Right.
Well, kiwi offers a much gentler food-based way to get some of that natural sleep hormone.
Huh. That is interesting. And I think I read somewhere that some studies actually showed eating a couple of kiwis maybe an hour or so before bed. It can really improve sleep quality and how long older adults sleep. Is that right?
Precisely. And if you think about the bigger picture here, good quality sleep is directly linked to better muscle repair. It just makes sense. When you get that restful night, your body can release important growth-related hormones and also work on reducing inflammation. Both are so important for keeping muscles strong.
So the kiwi is kind of like a little natural helper for sleep, which then helps our muscles rebuild.
That's a great way to put it. And the benefits don't actually stop there. Kiwi is also packed with antioxidants, like vitamin C and vitamin E. These help fight something called oxidative stress.
Oxidative stress. That sounds serious.
Well, it's a natural process, but over time it can damage our cells and contribute to muscle aches, that feeling of slowing down.
Ah, okay. So these antioxidants are like tiny helpers cleaning up the mess, so our bodies can focus on building new muscle instead of just constant repair.
You've got it. Exactly. And kiwi also has potassium. Potassium plays a really vital role in healthy muscle contractions. This can even help prevent those awful nighttime leg cramps that can wake you right up. Nobody wants those.
Oh, tell me about it. Those are no fun at all. Now, what about the sugar? I know fruit has sugar, and some people need to be careful, especially with blood sugar levels.
That's a very fair point. But kiwi actually has what's called a low glycemic index. That means it doesn't cause big, sharp spikes in blood sugar. So for most people, even those managing diabetes or prediabetes, it's generally quite suitable. But of course, it's always wise, always best to check with your own doctor if you have specific health concerns.
That's good to know. Very reassuring. And didn't you mention a story about someone who tried this?
I did, yes. I remember a lovely gentleman, Mr. Harold, He was 74, a retired teacher. He often mentioned just feeling generally weak and kind of stiff in the mornings. So I suggested he try eating 2 kiwis before bed, just see what happens. He came back a couple of weeks later, honestly, with a big smile. Said he didn't feel quite so creaky and that his legs felt noticeably stronger.
Wow.
A simple change, but it really made a difference for him.
That's just wonderful to hear. So let's maybe dig just a little deeper. Why does this little fuzzy fruit work so well at night? What's the science bit?
Okay. Well, like we said, the natural melatonin helps regulate your body's internal clock, the circadian rhythm. That rhythm can sometimes get a bit out of sync as we age, so kiwi offers a gentle nudge towards better sleep patterns.
Right.
Then you've got those antioxidants, the vitamin C and E,
Yeah.
actively fighting that oxidative stress. That frees up your body's resources to focus more energy on rebuilding muscle. And the potassium is right there, supporting healthy muscle function, helping prevent cramps, leading to more restful, uninterrupted sleep. Plus, because it's low glycemic and pretty easy to digest, it's just very senior-friendly as a bedtime snack.
Makes sense.
And, sometimes just the simple act, the ritual of having a little something like a kiwi before bed can signal to your body, okay, time to unwind.
It really does sound like such a simple but powerful little addition to an evening routine. Okay, so what's the next bedtime food on our list?
All right, our next helpful food might be more familiar from the breakfast table. Eggs.
Eggs, really? Before bed, I always think of them for starting the day.
Well, the key thing here is that eggs are a complete protein source. That means they have all 9 of the essential amino acids our bodies absolutely need to repair and rebuild muscle tissue. This is important always, but it becomes even more crucial as we get a bit older.
Right, and I think I heard there's one specific amino acid in eggs that's particularly important for kicking off muscle repair.
Yes, you're thinking of leucine. Leucine is really like the ignition switch for muscle protein synthesis. It's the signal that tells your body, okay, time to repair and get stronger. If you don't get enough leucine, that whole process can be a bit sluggish.
Ah, okay. Even if you're getting protein elsewhere during the day.
Exactly. Especially as we age, our bodies can become a little less sensitive to smaller amounts of protein. So having a high-quality protein source like an egg right before bed can really make a difference in signaling that critical overnight repair. Just one large egg gives you about 6 grams of protein and a good hit of leucine, often enough to get that repair process going overnight.
Wow, that's quite a bit in just one egg. Do you have another story maybe about someone who found eggs helpful?
I do, yes. I recall a lovely woman, Linda. She was 68. She used to say her legs felt kind of weak, a bit unsteady, especially in the mornings. She actually thought skipping evening snacks was better for sleep. But I suggested she try just one poached egg before bed. Within a couple of weeks, she was telling me how much better her balance felt, how much more stable her legs seemed. Just that small change, you see.
That's wonderful. It shows it doesn't have to be complicated. And eggs have other benefits too, right? Not just protein.
They certainly do. Eggs are a good natural source of vitamin D, which is important for both bone health and muscle function. And they also contain choline, which plays a role in brain and nerve function. That can definitely help with stability and coordination, too.
So if someone wants to try this, what's the best way to prepare an egg for bedtime? We probably don't want anything too heavy or greasy.
You're absolutely right. Gentle preparation is definitely key. Soft-boiled or poached eggs are excellent choices. They're easy on the stomach, don't involve added fats. Lightly scrambling them in just a little bit of olive oil is also fine. But yeah, you'd want to avoid butter or heavy oils right before sleep.
What about egg salad?
Egg salad could work, especially if you make it with plain yogurt instead of mayonnaise. That adds even more protein and some beneficial probiotics. Good idea.
And what should we definitely steer clear of when preparing eggs for bedtime?
Definitely try to avoid frying them in a lot of butter or adding excessive salt. Those things can sometimes lead to digestive upset or affect blood pressure, especially when you're trying to wind down.
Makes sense. Now, the big question for many, cholesterol. Eggs and cholesterol, that's something a lot of folks our age are mindful of.
It is, and that's a very valid question. Eggs did get a bit of a bad rap for cholesterol in the past, didn't they? However, more recent, credible research suggests that for most people, eating one egg per day doesn't significantly increase their risk of heart disease. In fact, it might even help raise the good cholesterol, the HDL.
Oh, really?
Yes, but as always, if someone has specific health concerns or high cholesterol already, it's absolutely best to chat with their doctor first. But for many, an egg at bedtime is a convenient, beneficial option, especially if you eat dinner quite early or just don't feel like a heavy snack before turning in.
That's really good to know. Very reassuring for many people, I think. Okay, so we've had kiwi, we've had eggs. What's the third bedtime food on our muscle building list?
Our third helpful little snack is pumpkin seeds. You might also know them as pepitas.
Oh, pepitas, those little green seeds. I usually just toss them on salads or maybe yogurt. I didn't realize they were a bedtime thing.
They really have some surprising benefits. One of the main reasons pumpkin seeds are so great, especially as we get older, is their high magnesium content. Magnesium is a mineral that's crucial for helping our muscles relax.
Ah, relaxation. That sounds good before bed.
Exactly. When we don't have enough magnesium, muscles can stay sort of tense even while we're sleeping. This can contribute to that morning stiffness or even restless legs syndrome that keeps so many people tossing and turning.
Ugh, restless legs are the worst. So how much magnesium are we talking about in these seeds? Is it a significant amount?
It really is. Just 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds, that's about a small handful, provides nearly 40% of your daily magnesium needs.
Wow, 40%. In just a handful. That's amazing.
It's very nutrient dense.
Do you have a story about someone who found relief with pumpkin seeds?
I do. I remember a gentleman, Walter, 72. He consistently mentioned how his legs felt tight and heavy in the mornings, just really achy no matter how much sleep he thought he got. After looking at his diet, we suspected he might be a bit low in magnesium. So I suggested you try eating just a tablespoon or two of pumpkin seeds about an hour before bed. A few weeks later, he was so pleased, he reported that his legs actually felt lighter, more rested when he woke up.
That's fantastic, just from a couple of tablespoons of seeds. And it's not just the magnesium, is it? I think I read they have something else that helps with sleep, too.
You're absolutely right. Pumpkin seeds also contain tryptophan. That's an amino acid our bodies use to make serotonin.
The feel-good chemical.
Exactly. And then serotonin gets converted into melatonin, that sleep hormone we talked about with kiwi. So you're getting a lovely double benefit. Magnesium for muscle relaxation and tryptophan to support better sleep quality.
And better sleep means better muscle repair, as we discussed.
Precisely. It all links together.
That's fantastic. Are there any other good things packed into these little seeds?
Oh yes, pumpkin seeds also provide a decent amount of plant-based protein, about 7 grams per ounce. They also contain healthy fats, which are good for you, and also help slow down digestion, providing a steady release of nutrients overnight. Plus, they're a good source of zinc, which is important for your immune system and also for hormone balance.
Wow, they really are a little nutritional powerhouse, aren't they? So how should we eat these before bed? Just grab a handful?
Well, with pumpkin seeds, a little goes a long way because they are quite calorie dense. 1 to 2 tablespoons before bed is usually plenty to get the benefits without overdoing it.
Okay, 1 to 2 tablespoons. Got it.
And it's best to choose unsalted, dry roasted seeds if you can. You can even lightly toast them yourself in a dry pan for a minute or two. Brings out the flavor nicely without adding oil.
Toasted sounds nice. Any other ways to have them?
Sure. You could easily sprinkle that tablespoon over some plain Greek yogurt that adds even more protein, like we said. Or you could blend them into overnight oats if you like those. Makes for a really nourishing and sleep-promoting snack.
Good ideas. And you mentioned zinc being good for hormone health. Can you expand on that just a little?
Certainly, maintaining healthy hormone levels becomes increasingly important as we age. Zinc plays a role in various hormonal processes. For men, it's involved in testosterone production, which is linked to muscle and bone health. For women, it's important for cell regeneration and immune function, among other things.
Okay, interesting. And the fact that they digest slowly because of the protein and healthy fats, that sounds ideal for overnight support.
Exactly. It provides that sustained nourishment to your muscles and helps keep blood sugar levels nice and stable while you sleep, which also contributes to better rest. Just remember that point about calorie density. Stick to that small serving size.
Great advice. Okay, we have one more bedtime food to explore. What is our fourth, maybe slightly unexpected hero for building strength overnight?
Our final bedtime champion, and yes, perhaps a bit unsung, is cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. That is interesting. It always seemed like, I don't know, a light lunch thing or maybe a diet food from way back when. Why is it so good before bed for muscles?
What makes cottage cheese really stand out for nighttime muscle support is a specific type of protein it contains called casein. C-A-S-E-I-N. Now, unlike whey protein, or the protein you get from eggs or meat, which digests relatively quickly, casein digests very slowly.
Slowly. How slowly?
We're talking about it releasing amino acids into your bloodstream gradually over several hours, potentially all night long. For us, especially as we get older, this is incredibly beneficial. It ensures your muscles are getting a steady, continuous supply of those building blocks throughout the entire night, not just a quick hit right after you eat it.
Ah, that slow and steady release sounds crucial for that long overnight repair window.
It really is. Think about it. During those deeper stages of sleep, your body is actively working on repair and recovery. If you run out of available amino acids, your body might actually start breaking down existing muscle tissue to get what it needs, which is exactly the opposite of what we want.
Definitely don't want that. So the cottage cheese acts like a time-release protein capsule, feeding our muscles all night.
That's a perfect analogy. Precisely. I remember Martha, a wonderful woman, 76 years old. She used to tell me how much harder everyday things were getting, climbing stairs. Just getting out of her favorite chair felt like a real effort. We made one simple change. Just a few spoonfuls of low-fat cottage cheese about 30 minutes before she went to bed each night. A few weeks later, she was just beaming. Said she felt much steadier on her feet, noticeably stronger. It was that consistent overnight protein supply making the difference for her, you see.
That's another fantastic example. It's amazing how these small, targeted changes can yield such results. Is there anything else special about the protein in cottage cheese besides the casein?
Yes, actually. Just like eggs, cottage cheese is also quite rich in leucine, that key amino acid we keep mentioning, the one that really kickstarts muscle protein synthesis. So you're getting both that sustained release from the casein and a good upfront dose of leucine to get the repair process fired up.
Best of both worlds, then. What about the sugar content? Is cottage cheese high in sugar?
That's a good question. Generally, no. Plain cottage cheese is naturally very low in carbohydrates and doesn't typically cause significant spikes in blood sugar or insulin levels, which is great before bed. And if you're watching your sodium or fat intake, it's easy to find low sodium and low fat or non-fat versions in any supermarket. They still provide all those fantastic protein benefits.
Okay. Now, for some people, the texture of cottage cheese can be, well, a bit of an acquired taste. Any tips to make it more appealing as a bedtime snack?
Absolutely. You can easily change the texture and flavor. Try mixing in a little cinnamon that adds warmth and flavor with no sugar. Or you could add a few slices of banana for natural sweetness and potassium, or even some chopped kiwi for those antioxidants we talked about.
Oh, mixing it with the kiwi, that's clever.
It can really transform it into a much more enjoyable, almost dessert-like, soothing bedtime treat. And again, that ritual aspect can be very calming.
It really sounds like these four foods, the kiwi, the eggs, the pumpkin seeds, and the cottage cheese, each offer unique ways to support our bodies while we sleep.
They really do. You've got the kiwi helping with sleep itself and providing antioxidants, the egg offering that complete protein punch with leucine, pumpkin seeds bringing magnesium for relaxation and tryptophan for sleep support, and then cottage cheese delivering that crucial, slow-releasing casein protein for all-night muscle nourishment.
And it's just so encouraging to hear that preventing age-related muscle loss, or at least slowing it down, doesn't have to involve drastic diets or, expensive, complicated supplements.
Exactly right. It really comes down to making consistent, small, smart dietary choices that support your body's natural nighttime repair processes. Think of that little bedtime snack as sending your body a message of care each night. Here you go. Here are the tools you need.
I like that. And these foods often have bonus benefits too, right? Beyond just the muscles helping with sleep, calming the nervous system.
That's absolutely right. It's a holistic approach. You're supporting multiple systems at once. You don't need to get bogged down counting every single calorie or forcing yourself into intense exercise right before bed. That's not the point. It's about finding a kind, doable, sustainable routine.
So maybe tonight, instead of just brushing our teeth and hitting the pillow, perhaps we could try adding just one of these simple snacks into our wind-down routine.
I would certainly encourage everyone listening to give it a try. See how you feel. These small steps really are investments. Investments in your future strength, your balance, your confidence.
And it would be wonderful, wouldn't it, if folks out there try one of these and notice a positive difference, maybe share your experiences in the comments below. You could really help inspire someone else.
Absolutely. Sharing what works is always so valuable in a community.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through all of that today. It's been really insightful. May every night bring all of you listening peaceful sleep, and may every morning greet you with renewed strength. You really have earned it. If you found this conversation helpful, please do give us a like and maybe subscribe so you don't miss out on our future chats. And please leave your thoughts, your experiences, or any questions you might have for us in the comments section below. We love reading them.